Okay, so time flies, and we continue working on the on the room. So important thing that is left to do is to hang the archaeological artifacts, the flags of Israel, and also oil flag of France, which is still missing from this wall. So we have 4 more flags, and then we are out of space. But also, I don't see immediate needs, like, I mean, for now. And if I will, if I think about the new thing, we can think like for a reconfiguration, which would probably necessitate a removal of paintings, because we are out of. This is the exclusion wall. It should be small, because if you have too much exclusions, then I mean you just misconfigure your code of law, your code of laws. So then generally there should be ideally no exceptions, or very little amount. I remove this painting not because it stopped being an exception, but because I now want to put it in storage in here. So that's what I will do in a moment. Just roll it and put it in the suitcase, and it will be safe and sound. Should be said, I mentioned it many times, but I mean maybe worth mentioning again. The way to undo like a command is not just to remove it from the wall, because of several reasons. First of all, it will just give more incentive to the enemies of the cherub, and in Earth, is always hunted like prey. So to just, steal things from him, and he's already, always under attack. So why, give them even like more incentive. And also, it should be said that a command should take into account the current situation. So you don't really undo a command. Maybe you kind of like, you try to revert things, but it's not necessarily, generally you don't undo an effect by just, giving the opposite command. Sometimes the opposite command does not even exist. What's the opposite command of bring the fleet here to Earth? Like send it back? Or destroy the ships? Why should they be destroyed? Just if I want them to leave, or to stop radiating the Earth, I should paint the ships leaving. And probably it will necessitate at least two canvases, if not even 3. But it's not exactly the reverse of what you see here. So that's why mostly if you want to undo something, you need to use new paintings and new sculptures that will symbolize what you actually want to achieve now. But sometimes in some cases, yes, you can use the same paintings and sculptures and modify it, be kind of like economic, just modify it to be to just signify the opposite, and it might work, it might be enough. And sometimes you don't even need to do that. The minimum that you can do is just sometimes some effect can be achieved just by rotating a canvas. And this was discussed when I in the last several months, specifically with regards to gate symbolism. Because yes, things like opening or closure of gates yes, they can be reversed. I mean, pretty. I mean, in a pretty neat way. Like, I mean, in order, like, I mean, to give, you can actually give like the negative command, which will be almost it should be almost exactly like, I mean, the positive command, like the first command, just, I mean, with, like, the not parameter, like the not unary operator. And sometimes you don't even need to change the painting, you just need to rotate it. But we don't, now it's not the case here. So just the fact that I remove it from the wall doesn't mean that it stopped being an exception. Like, let's say that I wanted to stop being an exception. So what can I do? So the simplest thing is just to hang it on this wall. But that's not what I want. So I also, of course, maybe you notice that so yesterday I rewired like oil to oil using the containers, using the sculptures, but I decided that it's also needed to be done on the painting, like, because almost always, I mean, the sculptures are that are kind of like in place of the tablets, like, I mean, the Ten Commandments, the broken tablets of Moses. They are in addition to the cherubs themselves, which are the walls, and not. I mean, it must. So this kind of rewiring must be represented in the paintings. So I actually did it, and the best way to do so. How do you do it? I mean, like, I mean, in painting. So the answer is simple. You just, I mean, you just treat the canvas as 3D, because that's what it is. I mean, you should all, I mean, it's always, I mentioned it many times that, I mean, there are no two-dimensional objects like in the language of the neurons. Every object is at least three-dimensional, and this certainly includes canvases. So that's what I did. You see, it goes like that, and here these two are also linked. So hopefully now we have, like, I mean, the complete rewiring mechanism that is so needed. So what I will do now is, I mean, prepare the hookah that wasn't used, I mean, since yesterday, and she is anxious to be of service. And then I'll hang these four, the flag of France and the 3 archaeological relics of the Israeli flag. This Iranian flag is not of particular interest, just the kind of like trivial fact that it's made on paper. Usually I don't paint on paper. Most of my paper paintings are on my in boxes, painting like folio suitcases in my mother's apartment. There should be 2 of these, purple and blue, 2 painter's bags. But some, not many paper paintings are here with me. Actually, not necessarily the better ones. Just my mother just, she just, transferred things like from her apartment to here, and according to her decision. So whatever she decided, I don't know, like according to what. But anyway, there are some not really interesting, so what is this? I don't even know. Usually it's like from both sides. There are a little bit of erotica here, not for the faint of heart, I guess. Also, we have the Martian, it's not mine, these are the ones that I bought, I saw it in the Angry Astronaut channel. So these are not mine, these are posters that I bought, and it jumps with all the paper paintings. There are actually 3 of those. I hope you enjoyed the music. So this is what we hear now. The soundtrack is not like the usual Vulcan soundtrack that I mixed myself. I mean, this one I also mixed myself, but it's I would say it's like a more basic work, like it's a return to the I would say it kind of like symbolizes a return to my kind of origin work in the field of music mix and music editing, like back in the day, before, like Vulcan is much more cerebral, but also more aggressive and kind of like demanding from the listener. I mean, I hope you understand what I mean. But so this one is more basic and more, I would say, like naive. Like, I mean, it's kind of like a romantic in a way that, I mean, not for like in the notion that it deals with love, like romantic in a way that kind of, I mean, it represents like basic music that, I mean, should supposedly, I mean, connect humans to their to nature. Like, I mean, in that way, it's a romantic like piece. I hope it's not too naive, but I mean, you know, sometimes I mean, not only, you know, cerebral like, and kind of like, you know, spiritual and demanding music like the Vulcan part. I mean, they have merit and value. I mean, I think that, I mean, sometimes, I mean, just, I mean, after you've reached like the level that you can create, I mean, complicated abstract expressionist works like Vulcan, sometimes just in that like I mean, part of your career, it's actually beneficial to just go back to your basics and to revisit like, I mean, your first, I mean, you know, very naive but also very exciting steps like in the chosen field of art. I mean, in this case, we speak about music, the music, I mean, the field of music mixing and editing. So, I mean, of course, a very important art form. But it's not to any kind of art. I mean, it's beneficial to go back, I mean, to your like to your, like, I mean, you know, your basic, like, I mean, like naive and newly excited like young artist, and to revisit like the same kind of like stations, but now of course with the added background and experience and theoretical understanding that of course gives you, I mean, new insight to this to the supposedly you know, naive nature or naive characteristics of the original materia. So, I mean, without too much, you know, complicating stuff, I'll let you just, I mean, enjoy the music, and I mean, of course, I'll gladly get any comment, like what you think, and also negative comments. I mean, I'm open to criticism. I mean, I'm not going to be offended. If someone doesn't like this music, I mean, I'm not offended. I mean, you know, it's okay not to like everything that I create. It's perfectly fine. So, so that should be all for now, and maybe later today I'll actually finally hold a lecture that I promised you, like, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, and I just didn't have the opportunity to do it, which is very important. And it's, I mean, it's not important from the political perspective. That's why I've never spoken about it, like, throughout these 4.5 years. Only I mentioned it very, very briefly in several clues, but I imagine no one actually remembered it because it was such, you know, elusive. So it's the issue of, like, I mean, I call it like son of the mother, because I'm the son of the father, and many of what I like, this is like the mythological background of a lot of what I do and of my self-identification and self-expression. And also it's something that many people relate to, even if they are not Christians, they understand it to some extent, or at least they are aware of it. But there is also, in the field of like my mythological background, there is another important aspect, which is the son of the mother, which is much less natural to me, and I guess much less natural to most of the audience, but maybe not to everybody. Like, I mean, the mythological like footprint of the son of the father. But it's also very, very important. So I will speak about it. Like I'll try to do it later today, and maybe the latest tomorrow. And hopefully it will be interesting and refreshing because it's kind of like a totally new subject. I mean, it's just not. It has no kind of like implication, like political implication. At least not in the short term, you know. So I never kind of like and it's very personal. It's like of course it's part of my discovery journey, but it's like of the more personal aspects that doesn't necessarily of interest to to other people. I don't read it myself because I said it. I think it might be interesting, but interesting, from for curious people or people that just to know stuff, but not it doesn't have practical implications in our world. Right here, right now.